I got legal documents. I gotta look over it from around in Nebraska. I gotta get on the phone with my ex sister-in-law about this. Oh my gosh.
Well, welcome. This is Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor,
I
and
am
I'm joined.
John Epstein. I guess that was my cue.
That was your cue, yeah.
This dude is John Epstein. What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Glad to be with you guys today.
Absolutely. So today we're going to continue our conversation about health and wealth. And
Yep.
today's conversation is about the foundation for your financial plan, right? And what that actually starts with, right? So for a financial plan, you need protection. But protection from what, do you ask? All right. So if you want to find out the answer to that question, stay tuned, share this with a friend, get a pen and paper. You're definitely going to want to take some notes, and we'll be
Yep.
getting started in just a moment. Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. Once again, I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor, and this is my what do you, my
Uh-oh.
esteemed. No, I'm trying to figure out like a
Uh-oh.
word for it. My esteemed co-host and mentor, Mr. John Epting Jr. For those that don't know us, John actually is a senior financial broker with over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry, and I'm his mentee and have learned from him over the last 10 years now that I've worked with John. So I to work in the financial industry, and we are having a conversation this month about health and wealth, right?
Yeah.
The two are so intertwined. You know, the first week this month, we talked about just kind of the definition of or the interconnectedness of your health and your wealth. And we talked a little bit about Medicare and Medicaid and how those systems that are in place to be able to support people may not be enough. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week we talked about and touched on the idea that you have to have a strategy, you have to have a plan. You
Absolutely.
want to have the right protections in place, different types of insurance and things like that. And so we're going to dig a little bit more into that topic because we want people to really understand how to build wealth. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so something that I've heard you say time and time again, John, is that wealthy people anticipate while poor people react.
Yeah.
And so wealthy people are often anticipating the things that could and often do happen in life, and they prepare for them.
Yes.
Whereas often poor people react to stuff when it comes up. And so
Very true.
it's not about really how much money they have, but really how they think. And
Right.
so I had a message here that says that wealthy people anticipate and prepare for these type of protections. And so I'm gonna kind of list them out, and then I want you to kind of talk on that. So
Okay.
protection against loss of life, loss of income, taxes, inflation,
Wow.
and even risk.
Wow.
And
Okay.
also about protection against incapacity, right? So I want to lean into the incapacity as we get into
Wow.
the conversation. But if you can speak about those few, the loss of life, loss of income, taxes, inflation, and even risk
Yeah.
in terms
Well,
of preparation.
with your permission, let's back it up a little bit, right? Let's leave the loss of life at the end.
Okay. All right.
Because a lot of that other stuff will happen before that one, of course.
Absolutely.
Right?
Makes
So
sense.
years ago, I grew up where I grew up, and most people don't know how much your upbringing affects the way you think about money and wealth and things like that. Like, it's some people who self-sabotage themselves to never become wealthy or rich because they've heard phrases such as money don't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, rich people are bad people. So subconsciously, if you actually believe that, if you a myth is if you tell a lie long enough, often enough, loud enough, with enough passion, people will accept it as truth. Right.
Right.
Even in the middle class world, they say rich people don't pay their fair share and things of that nature. And of course, you've heard me give different perspectives on that numerous times. If you have those types of mindsets, right, you will self-sabotage yourself. You don't even know you're doing it. It's part of your financial blueprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll hinder you from getting to new levels, right? No matter how many podcasts you listen to, no matter how, you got to be able to detox yourself from your beliefs, because sometimes we have some inbred beliefs that aren't really true. They're myths, and we just
Yeah.
bought into them. And the reason I bring that up is when I grew up, I used to hear that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Well, if you really look at the United States, I'm chiming in from the United States here on the East Coast. If you really look at the world in the United States, that's not true. The rich get richer and the poor are getting better too, right? They're not getting poorer, right? Because, for example, most of the millionaires in our country today, right, they're first generation rich.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, they made it. Their parents didn't leave it, right? And I'm talking about the vast majority of the millionaires, probably like 2% of them who inherited it. Okay.
Yeah.
So they built it, right? And what I've noticed in my 20 years in financial services, just in the financial game of being a licensed financial guy, right? But even before that is the only difference between rich people and everyone else. I say it that way. The only difference between rich people and everyone else is the way they think. It's not money.
Right.
I wish it was money. It's easier to explain that, right? If you don't have it and they do, no hope for you. But the facts are, it's a lot of hope for you.
Yeah.
Right? If you change your thinking, it changes what you do, your habits. And that will almost guarantee change your results. Right? So really we're sum total of our habits, right? And our habits are just generating a certain result. So if you don't like your results, change your habits, right? And I said change your habits. I didn't say get rid of habits. It's hard to get rid of them, but it's easier to change them.
Yeah.
All right. So why do I say all of that in talking about these protections, right? Well, if you don't think a certain way, you're still not going to find the value in these protections, right? If you don't
Right.
understand to protect your income, for example, most people in our world do not have disability insurance. What's disability insurance? I'm glad you asked. Thank you for asking. It's to protect your income. What if you couldn't perform your job anymore? What if you became
Right.
disabled? And what if you became disabled to the point you can't do that job, but you can work, right? There's a huge difference, right? So and so our government has these things set up, right? Social Security, disability, so forth and so on, which is almost like it's like an act of Congress to get it. Okay, almost everybody gets declined their first time they put it in.
Mm.
Right? So what happens in the meantime? But if you had disability insurance, in other words, you insured your income. Does that make sense? What if you don't have a business like me, right? So income comes in whether I work or not, right? But if you have a job and now you're not on the job, and then some employers will fire you in that sense because you're not on the job, you're not providing value to the company anymore, right? And now you can't perform. You and I'm not saying you disabled. You just can't perform the job you were doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? What if you had a policy, especially anybody who's listening to me who's self-employed entrepreneur type, you have to have this,
Yeah.
right? People who got jobs, they might have workman's comp, maybe, right? Believe it or not, that's like an act of Congress to get some of that stuff too, right? Or you might have some short-term disability on your job, maybe not long-term, right? Something like that, you're right. And they may
Yeah.
offer it, and here's the bad thing: sometimes they offer it and we don't take it. I'm going to say something. I believe this is a true belief of mine. In the United States, we're really arrogant. All of us. Nobody's exempt. And this is what I mean by this. We believe bad things only happen to other people until it happens to us. That's the painful thing. So the reason we don't get these insurances, the reason we don't set up these protections, the reason we don't have a financial plan is because we just believe things are going to work out. All right? Wealthy people, rich people, they don't think like that. They like, it might not work out. So let me put some safeguards in place to make sure it works out.
Right.
That makes sense?
Absolutely.
So disability insurance, long-term care. The older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing how super valuable, right? And especially, I've already seen this stuff happen in my family. You know, my grandmother back in 2010, so forth and so on. Right. My grandmother was one of those people on Medicaid, you know, so that type of stuff, seeing it all play out, it's like, it's an eye opener. And here's the funny thing. Other people will watch, listen, they'll watch their own family members go through situations that prompt you to get certain things in order. And we still don't do it.
Hmm.
I always tell people the best time to talk to people about life insurance is after somebody died. Matter of fact, while you're there still mourning. Somebody, oh my God, that's so insensitive. Well, in 3 months, they done went back to their life.
Yep.
Yeah, they missed that person, but they back at their work. They back at doing whatever. They back drinking on the weekends, hanging out, going to whatever they do. They ain't thinking about it no more. That's just the
Yeah.
facts. Right? And I'm somebody who's lost some people. I lost my brother in February. I've lost 2 children. Trust me, I'm not exempt to this stuff either. I just happen to do it all the time. This is what I do. I
Yeah.
helped somebody with a life insurance policy today. I helped somebody with an annuity today. Right? That was part of what I do for a living. So because I'm talking about it to everyone all the time, I'm constantly thinking about it for myself, especially as I'm getting older. Right? Thank God I'm fairly healthy. I got some disabilities, veteran type stuff, but you know, painful stuff. Right? I'll be a chiropractic and physical therapy tomorrow. And not fun. Physical therapy is not fun. Chiropractic is fun. Physical therapy is not fun. That's like another workout. And it's, oh my gosh, like I want them to leave me alone, but I want them to fix this issue. So I keep going. Yeah. So I'll be there
Yeah.
at 8, and then I'll be at the chiropractic at 9:30. 8.
Mm.
Right. Something like that. All right. But I got insurances in place for these things. All right. So we just talked about disability. We just talked about long-term care and critical illness, chronic illness type stuff. Right. I can keep going. Most people don't look at their car insurance as part of their financial plan. And maybe it's because the way we think about insurance, we don't see the value, right? It wasn't until I was in this business that I saw the value, right?
Yeah.
Insurance is a protection. Matter of fact, let me say it this way. It's a transference of risk, and it protects your wealth. Even if you don't have any wealth, it protects your wealth, right? I go out here and hit somebody, right? I'm teaching my 16-year-old to drive now. So I got her these cool little things from Amazon where she puts these magnets on the back of the car that she's driving. And so when we shoot on the interstate and stuff like that, she was on the interstate today. And today was the first time she drove my car. For some reason, she was scared of my car. It feels better now, but I do drive a luxury car, and they think it's big. My wife and daughter think it's big, but my daughter felt really comfortable in it today, right? Especially when she saw the technology and it heads-up display and the little thing that goes off if you go into another lane, and she relished those things, right? So I'm teaching her to drive now, right? So now insurance has to be put on the car, well, on our policy for her.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And it's a decent amount more, but I always tell myself, hey, she's worth it.
Yeah.
No big deal, right? So an extra 2, it's a lot more, right? It's like more than me and my wife combined just for her, right?
For a young driver, yep.
But we put it on, right? So now, what does that do for me? What does it do for me? Why would I pay an extra 2 and some change a month to cover this 16-year-old? Why? Well, because I don't want to go out here. She accidentally hit someone, and we have to pay for it. So what did we do? We transferred the risks to our insurance company. And guess who takes care of it now? The insurance company.
Yep.
Right? That insurance company, now Jessie's become a super driver. She's actually doing really good, right? But anything could happen, right? That's how we think. So something happens, right? That insurance company now protected my wealth. I ain't got to worry about you touching nothing else. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that's car insurance. We talked about this with health insurance. Big one
Mm-hmm.
for me. All right. I had a daughter who got sick 2012, spent 7 weeks in the hospital, passed away. All right. Can you imagine what our medical bills were after 7 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we had good health insurance, huh? Protected
Yep.
our right. I can keep going. It's so many more, right? Hey, what if you how would you like to protect? Listen to me, this is gonna sound really interesting. What if I could protect what if I could protect your retirement?
Mm.
Hmm. There's a couple ways I'm talking about, but let me just talk about this way. What if we could protect it so that you never outlive it? That's called an annuity. Let's say you only have a certain amount of money, 300 grand, 400 grand, whatever it is, right? And it's estimated a lot of us are going to live to our hundreds, all right? And you retire at 65. Most of us will be in retirement longer than we worked, right? An annuity will guarantee that you never outlive the money. Pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah. That's
That's good.
just a couple. I only tapped a few.
Right. Well, I think you bring up a great point, John, and it really comes down to your values, right? Your core beliefs,
You got
because you invest in the things that are important to you, right?
it.
And I was actually, I think, just having this conversation just yesterday. I got a new contract, and just the term alone, right? My daughter at 6 years old has a new contract for gymnastics, right? Going to another level, right? Contract, right? She's going to another level, so she's got to practice more days a week. And apparently, I've got to get more involved. I'm learning this stuff. I had a few people tell me that gymnastics, can be, they say expensive, but I'm like, expensive compared to what, right? Like, I value my daughter having certain experiences, so I don't worry about the investment, right? It is what it is. But she gets this new contract, and I'm like, how am I? Why am I paying to be a volunteer, right? Like, I'm required to be at meets and like
And
all of
that's
this stuff. It is what it is, right? But she's worth it, right? She's worth the investment, right?
right.
Investing in her future is a value of mine. Investing in experiences and educational opportunities, right? Those things are important to me, so I'm willing to invest in them, right? So maybe I don't go get my nails done every weekend. I don't get my hair done every month. Maybe it's like every other month, right? Like
Right.
right.
Right. Right.
Now, granted, I do need to work on self care and investing more in
You
myself.
do. Thank you. I'm glad you said that out loud for all the listeners. Did you guys hear her? She said she needs to do more for self care, and she's
I
trying
do.
to act like it's like, oh, she got to cut back on something for her daughter to do this. I'll let her tell that story to you, but you guys can look at my face. I know her. I'm her financial coach.
Yeah, yeah.
She can handle. She's just disciplined for the long term. She understands the long game. She's
Absolutely.
not playing the short.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want these people thinking you can't afford it. I'm not. I didn't say no numbers. I didn't say no numbers.
It's just never been a priority, right? Like, so I'm like right now in this phase of my life where I'm like, I gotta make me a priority. Like, I spend more on my children than I do on myself. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's a little out of order, right? Because the
yeah,
house is for all of us, the utilities are for all of us, but like
true.
they get gymnastics, they gonna
Yep,
start swimming lessons next month, right?
yep.
Like I'm all of this stuff for them. And I'm like, wait a minute, like I don't even get a regular
At,
massage.
at some point, Uncle John's gonna be telling you to put him in jujitsu. Take him out of all of that other stuff and put him in jujitsu. I'm just telling you what's coming. It's coming.
I actually drove by somewhere yesterday and I saw a sign for like Taekwondo or something like that, and they were enrolling children. They started 3 years old. I was like, maybe I should put them in karate. But then my daughter's older sister was like, she's gonna beat me up, right? She's already aggressive right now in it too.
Yeah.
So she was a little concerned if she start taking Taekwondo or jujitsu, right? She's really
Well,
gonna have a
it's funny. I never took jujitsu, but I do have a background in Taekwondo,
mm-hmm.
and I'm still pointing you towards jujitsu.
Well, we'll have to add that to the list, right? Because I want to be intentional about those things, but it's investing in, it's preparing, right? Because hey, if they take jujitsu, I know they're going to learn discipline. I know
Yes.
they're going to learn how to protect themselves, self
Yes.
defense, right? So it's the same thing with our financial plan. We prepare, we anticipate what could happen, and we simply prepare for it. And
Yes.
so it's what you value, right? Your values need to be aligned and need to be congruent with your actions. All right. If you say you value generational wealth, what are you doing to build wealth? If
Yeah.
you say that you value retirement, what are you putting in place to be able to have a retirement,
Yeah.
right? It's
It,
planning.
it's like whatever you value, whatever you say you value, is there any evidence that you value that? If there's if
Absolutely.
is there any evidence? Is there enough evidence to convict you in the court of law that that's your value? Could we do it, or is there reasonable doubt? So sometimes we need to ask ourselves that, right? Because there's a lot of people who say stuff, and as you know, I'm a public speaker too. So there's times I'm on stage all the time, and somebody would say, or I would ask the crowd, "Do you care about your family? Can you give me proof?" Right? And even me as a husband, me going to work every day and me paying the bills and making sure stuff is taken care of, that's not enough proof.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even when my wife and daughter call me their hero, their Superman. You know, my wife has done public speaking before she's went off into this new thing she's doing now, but but she's been in public speaking all the time, and she calls me her Superman and stuff like that. But long before she would say it out loud out of our house, she was saying it in our house, and almost without fail, every time she said, "Babe, you're such a hero to me," I would say, "Why? Articulate it to me." And I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
I did that with our baby girl. Now, mind you, Tootie was only 5 when she passed
Mm.
away. So when she was, I don't know, 3 and 4, she had to articulate to me why I'm her hero. Me being her dad isn't enough.
Yeah.
That's not enough. It doesn't take some fun in making them. I have a gorgeous wife. I mean, this is, she didn't have to twist my arm. Children here. Right. But by no means, right? I'll practice anytime she wants. Right. But me being their hero, for you to call me your hero, my wife calls me her Superman. Articulate that. Like, run it down to me. Right. And here's the cool thing about my wife. She comes up with new things. Now I don't even ask. She just says it. She's like, "Babe, did you even know you did that? Did you even realize you did that?" And she'll tell me about something I did, and I'll be like, to me, it was just me.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else even thinks of doing stuff like that for people. I was just like, well, I just do it because I would want somebody to do it for me, even though I have a hard time letting people do stuff for me.
Likewise. I can definitely relate to that.
You and I clicked on that part, right?
Yeah.
But in building wealth, we need to protect those types of things, and then we have to. I think what we really have to do is we have to narrow down what do we value.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when I say value, right, your values can be bigger than the list of what will you die for. Right. As I've gotten older, my list of what I would die for has gotten shorter. Like, what am I willing to die for? So I guess a lot of people have these theories in life and what they think they're right. And a lot of it, I could tell you're not willing to die for that thought. Right. Which can be healthy. Look at her. Hi.
Hey, Mr. John.
Good to see you. It's so good
You
to
remember
see you.
the last time you talked to her, that's what you told her to call you, Mr.
That's right, Mr. John. She said, "Hey, John." I said, "Hold up, pause." That's Mr. John to you. I love your hair, though. I love your hair.
Thank you. I washed my hair last night.
Awesome. Beautiful. See, she's worth it, isn't she? Just seeing her, just like, right, when I see Jessie. Now, Jessie, I remember when she was that cute. Don't get me. My daughter's gorgeous, right? She's rocking her purple hair, and I love my daughter because she's just unapologetically her. She ain't trying to be nobody else. She has this hippie / skater vibe going on. She wears clothes that just, and I relish it. I love it, especially as a 16-year-old, because I see some other 16-year-olds and the way dress and things like that, and what their parents have to go through with it. Yeah. So I'm feeling with Jesse's, she drove me to her job and she got out the car, and so it was a little boy. She works at the beach. There's a little boy running across the parking lot with no shirt on and and I said, that's your type, ain't it? She's like, Dad, stop. Right. And I love the fact I can have that relationship and even talk to her about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
that's good stuff.
Yeah, she's like, no, not him, not really. No. Right. I like that. I like the fact that she'll be open, because I don't have that relationship with my oldest. I wish I did. Right?
Yeah.
I wish she knew that, hey, but part of that's my fault. Right. I learned as a parent that the most important part of my parenting is how I respond to things that they come up with or they go through.
Yeah.
Because it tells your child if you're trustworthy.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And Jessie, faints if we're ever disappointed in her anyway. But I try not to even show that. I do let her know, as we taught all of our kids, there's nothing I tell them we've told them all the time that there's nothing they can do to make us love them any more or any less. But they are in charge with how pleased we are with them.
I like that.
So that's what they're in charge of. But there's nothing they can do to make me love them any more or any less. No matter how long I go without speaking to them. It was really cool that one of them called me last Thursday, and I literally sat on my porch just talking to her. I missed her call, called her right back. Dad, she's telling me about the sleeve of tattoos she got now, and but then I showed her, mine. She was like, "Oh my God, Dad, for real?" Right? So kind of cool that we can share that type of stuff. But I'm saying all this stuff so the audience understands that. Figure out what's really valuable to you, and then you kind of know what protections to put in place. For example, I talk about long-term care. My dignity to a degree is of value to me, right? So I have long-term care in place so that my daughters never have to wipe my butt. We're gonna pay trained professionals to wipe my butt. That keeps my dignity, but it also keeps our relationship intact. That they're not my caretakers; they're my daughters, right? I don't want to be my mom's caretaker. Although I would relish the day that she gets to move in our home, or build another. We build a wing on the home or whatever we got to do, right? But as her baby, that's what I'm. I know I'm the oldest of 9, but I'm her baby. I don't care what nobody says, right? Some of them might watch this; they're gonna be mad, but. I would love, I love for the day, right? 10, 20 years from now when she's ready to move into one of our homes but I'm going to hire somebody to take care of her. If it comes to the point that she needs that type of care, right?
Yeah.
Stuff, no, I got it, right? But yeah, we're going to hire somebody to take care of that. Why? Because I want her to keep her dignity. I don't want to be her caretaker. I want to be her son.
Yeah.
I want her to feel some type of way, like that she's like a burden. Because I only get to breathe because of her. So we put things in place, we contemplate, we think about those things. To us, it's an investment.
Yeah.
The return is her living a comfortable life, me living a comfortable life, or whoever it is, right? So break down the values that you have in your life, and then ask yourself, is there any evidence that that's of value to you? And if you don't have any evidence yet, now that you have a plan, now that you see, you can start moving towards those values. You can start moving towards the evidence.
That's good. That's good. So I know we're not going to stay on too long today, but I did want to just bring up the idea of preparing, because a lot of times people think that, oh, it's the economy, or it's the government, or it's this, or it's that. And building wealth is not dependent on any particular condition, right? Conditions don't have to be exactly right in order to build wealth, right? Like, it's a mindset. And I love how Jim Rohn puts it. He says, it's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail, right?
That's right.
So how you set your sail will determine whether you get to where you say you want to be, whether you'll align with your values. So
Yes.
could you
Say that
speak to
again though, because I
say
don't
again?
think the audience caught it. It's not the wind.
Blowing of the wind,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the set of the sail. It's not the government, right?
Okay.
What is it? What is it? It's the storms are going to come, right? Like those things are
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. Life is going to happen. And so how you set your sail will just determine what happens to you, how you
Mm-hmm.
respond to what happens,
Mm-hmm.
and it's possible, right? If families can create wealth from generation to generation, right? If we can know names like the Rockefellers or the different various Asian dynasties, or
Mm-hmm.
like those names lived into perpetuity. We know those names, the Fords, and
Mm-hmm.
because they had a
Wow.
system, right? They had a
Yeah,
strategy to build wealth,
they
no
did.
matter what happened in the economy, right? And so, can you speak to that? How can people prepare no matter what climate we're in,
Yeah.
economically, politically, socially? Like, right? Although we had an interesting year, right? This past year and a half, it's been an interesting year, but you spoke about it before. People have become wealthy, started businesses, right?
Yeah.
We shared it a few weeks ago. Well, oh no, I think it was on another podcast that I do. We talked about how like billionaires made billions more last year during the pandemic.
And millionaires made millions more, right? And the reason that
Absolutely.
is because the biggest wealth booms are normally during down times, normally during bad times, right?
Yeah.
Because for every crisis there's opportunity, right? For
Yep.
example, it was people who weren't selling masks, 18 months ago, and now they've created $1 million business from selling masks.
Yep.
Right? And mind you, they're selling these things for $3, right? Yet they've made millions in selling masks. Now, so what that tells me is whoever did that, whoever started, making masks and all that type of stuff, they didn't panic. They pivoted. And the way you become wealthy, or I'm not even say wealthy because rich, right? Wealthy people got rich people working for them. But rich people, really comfortable. They not only can take care of themselves, but they can also contribute to society and things like that. Okay, so when the way you do that, really, it's gonna sound so weird, right? Consistency, right? It's not about chasing the next cryptocurrency, right? Although you can make money in that, got some of that. It's not about the next big stock boom. It's not that, right?
Mm.
Because you might miss it. Most of the time, if you finally heard of it, it's too late,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying too late, right? Because you could have invested in Tesla. Tesla split last year, September
Hmm.
September 1st, I think it was, right? Shares were next to nothing. I think they're 500 some bucks today, right?
Hmm.
So you could have made very good money if you had just invested some money in Tesla last year, right? But who was to know that? And Tesla's going to keep moving up, right?
Hmm.
Apple, same thing, right? Because they're going to create a new phone, and all of y'all going to go get it, right? Even though you have to get it, right? And it's just going to help their stock prices move up, and they're going to create something else. And next thing you know, it's going to be a chip in your ear, and that's going to be your Bluetooth. And I'm just serious. They're going to create an earring or something, and some of y'all going to have that. And it's going to be a thing under your skin and your wrist. I don't know what's next, but that's all the type of stuff there's going to be out there, right? But it's consistency. Can you just have a budget? Let's start there, right? And stick with that. Tell every
Yeah.
dollar of your money what to do. Know exactly where every penny went. That's a good start. Okay. And then
Hmm.
start, and I know this sounds so 1970s right now, but can you save some? Just save some money, right? Somebody, yeah, don't say rich people don't save, they invest. Right? Yeah, but if you don't have the skills to invest, you don't know what to look for, you ain't following the right people. Can you at least save? Let's start there, right? Stack up a bunch of cash, right? And then start investing too, right? And can you save consistently? If you're investing, can you invest consistently? What do I mean by that? Not chasing this and day trading and I gotta watch this. No. Can you invest $200 every month? Can you invest $300 every month? Can you just $500 every? Can you dollar cost average that out? And I actually heard somebody say, "Well, I don't like dollar cost averaging," because you don't like dollar cost averaging because you're only thinking of an up market all the time. And then dollar cost averaging is not you buying the same amount of shares every month. It's about saving the exact same amount of money, investing the exact same amount of money every month. So if you're using $300 and you're buying shares at $10 this month, you just bought some shares, right? But next month the shares might not be $10. They might be $8, or they might be $12. They might be $4. The market isn't always up. And whatever you're investing isn't always up. But if you do dollar cost averaging over time, not timing, time in, you're dang near guaranteed to be on the up. Why? Because the market trends up. So it just takes some consistency. It's about protecting this stuff. Hey, don't invest before you have those protections I talked about in place. Because then that doesn't make sense. I promise you, as soon as you start moving in the right direction, something bad's going to happen. Then it throws a monkey wrench in your whole savings and investment plan. Next thing you know, you're pulling the money out in a downtime and you're losing money because you got to get the transmission fixed on the car or it needs tires and you didn't have cash set aside for that. So that was I said that was a lot, and I can keep going, but that's where you start. Anybody can do this. I'm not that smart of a guy. I'm really intelligent. I can take something complicated and make it really simple, and I know how to apply. Right? Rich people, smart people sometimes can't do that. Right? So that's where intelligence comes in, and intelligence is just a big word for common sense. That's it. So I got a lot of that. That's that. Smarts? No. Do I read fast? Nope. I don't even try to read fast no more. It used to bother me. Oh my God, it takes me so much longer. I got a buddy who read a book in a day a couple months ago, right? It was about weight loss and stuff like that. He read a book in a day, right? Really smart guy. He's intelligent too, right? But man, in a day, I've never read a book in a day. If I read a book in a day, actually, okay, there's one book I read in a day. In my Let's book. It's so little.
I don't even think I finished that in a day.
I finished that one in a day. Partly because I couldn't put it down. It was just so good. But I'm not that smart of a guy, but anybody can do this, guys. It just takes some discipline. It takes some focus, right? It takes some not chasing everything. That's really what it is. Somebody asked me that. Somebody was driving me somewhere. And it was Saturday. I went on a hike with some people. And I remember the young man asking me some things about consistency and stuff like that. And I just told him, how do you kill a man with a dream? You give him a second one. You just took his focus. And now he's not going to achieve either one. We're so diversified.
Yeah.
Yeah. When really we just can't focus. We're so ADD. That's why marriages fail, because you're ADD. You're all over the place. Can you just stick? Right, dang. Right? I can keep going on that one too. Social, economic.
Well, no, so right. I love what you said. Tell every dollar, right? It's simple, right? We've spoken about this before. Like having a financial plan is really simple. Tell every dollar what to do, save consistently, invest consistently. And I've actually, just in my conversation and as I've having dialogue with different people, I equate a financial plan to baking a cake, right? To set your financial house in order, you gotta have a cake, right? And there are certain ingredients that go into that cake.
Boom.
Right? The bottom layer is your protection, right? Like that's your right. Or if we look at it, right, the flour, right? Like you gotta have flour to make cake.
Look at the base, right? Flour.
Yeah.
Now, if you're
gotta have flour,
you're
right?
gluten-free people, it's other types of flour for you.
You can pick whatever flour you want, right? But you need
Yes.
flour to bake the cake, right?
Yes.
So you can have whatever protections you want based on your values, but you got to have flour, all right? You got to have eggs, right? So maybe eggs is your savings, right? Your emergency fund. You got to have eggs in your cake. Otherwise, you're not going to. Go ahead.
Sugar substitute, I guess, right? So
yeah.
I'm off sugar, but monk fruit and stuff like that. That's what we use. But you're right. You got to have all the ingredients of a solid cake, right? Or it's going to turn out nasty, right? And here's the bad thing, right? You could throw away a cake, but you screw this up in your financial plan, you still got to eat it.
Ooh.
See, you saw that? That was that intelligence I was talking about. That was that.
But no, so I that's a great point that you make. And what I want people to understand is that everybody can have a solid cake, right? They can have a good cake.
Easy.
Right? Everyone can have a solid cake, right? However you want to put the cake together. If you have those ingredients, you tell every dollar, right? You have a budget, you save consistently, you invest some money, you had the right protections in place, right? That's your cake.
You got it.
Oftentimes, our focus is on the icing, right? I call the icing the investing, right? The icing is the cryptocurrency, the real estate, right? You want to do all that stuff, right? Like that's my new analogy, right? That's my metaphor for a financial plan.
So many people want fondant. So many people want
right,
and have a cake yet. They're over there mixing the fondant. You don't even have a cake. What are you just gonna eat the fondant? We're just gonna eat the
right, and that's why they have financial decay in their lives because they got this too sweet.
You said financial decay. Oh my God.
Absolutely, right?
So intelligent people are talking to each other. This is awesome. Wow. You see now, audience, look, we're not boosting ourselves, right? Sometimes you do need to speak life into yourself. Trust me, I got my own hang-ups, mental hang-ups and self-esteem stuff. But here's the deal. I want you to think about this, right? We're talking about this stuff, right? And look how we're using analogies to try to get you to understand it all so that you can look. Some of y'all ain't gonna never call us. You should, but you ain't never gonna call us. Well, we're at least giving you the insight so that you can move forward. Right? Now listen, if you never call me, right? You never call Majida, right? That's as much as we would like to help and we'll love your business, right? Our daughters aren't gonna feel it. Our daughters aren't going to know you didn't call. We're not even thinking about it, okay? I'm saying this from my heart so that you understand, right? We're not doing this every Tuesday night as I just saw my wife pull up, right? I'm not doing this every Tuesday night for me. I got close to 30 years of experience in this type of stuff between business and finance, and I'm giving it to you for free. I'm not asking you to give me a $97 thing that I just told you it costs $5.95, and I'm giving you a $500 discount. I didn't say none of that. I didn't ask you none of that. But I'm hoping you use some of this stuff that we give you every Tuesday. Hopefully you share it. You help somebody else, right? Because I know you can do better than you are right now. As well as you've done, as good as you've done. I know you can do better for your family and for your legacy. So I think we should wrap it up. I think we should wrap it up with it.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. And I love how actually somebody that you trained that trained me would always say that, like, hey, you looks like you've been doing well financially, but how much better could you do with a coach, right?
Yeah.
Kobe had a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach, right? Athletes who are world class have coaches, right? Anybody who performs at a world class level, Ed Mylett coaches people, right? And who are world class.
He has a coach.
Absolutely. So I've got my coach, right? I got John. He's got coaches. And so it doesn't hurt to get somebody else to help you move closer to where you want to be. And so that's what we can do. You can actually schedule a complimentary consultation with John or myself at any time. We have our links there at the bottom. You can go to our Calendly pages and just schedule a time to assess where you are, take a financial x-ray, and get some clarity on where you are, where you want to be, and what you can do to get there. So we certainly appreciate you all joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Any final words, John?
No, thank you for listening to us. Hopefully you took what I said to heart, but also you heard my heart, not my head. All right. We actually really do care. So that's why we do this. That's why we continue to do it. Just so we can maybe give some people some value, no matter how many are listening. Some people might say, well, you can't make a difference. Well, I can make a difference for one. And that's enough. All right. So
he made a difference for me. So this is our way of paying it forward, right? To continue to share this message and, get more people in front of this information and to ask the questions, right? Like if you aren't where you want to be, if you're not where you want to be, if you're not doing well financially, you got to ask some questions. You got to consider if what you're doing hasn't gotten you to where you want to be, what are you going to do differently? So we thank you all for joining us tonight. Come in next week. Next week, we'll have another candid conversation about finance, health, and wealth. And we look forward to you sharing this with your friends and just start the conversation, right? That's really what we want to do for you. Just help you start the conversation. And join us next week as we continue on this topic so that we can continue to add value. Thank you, John, as always, for being here and providing your insight and intelligence. Right? I like that. And we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.